Hey, my name is Ryan Yee. I serve as the campus minister at Harvard Business School. My dad, he sadly passed away in 2016. His cancer came back and it was pretty aggressive. And when he passed away, it was a huge loss for our family. Just totally changed how we kind of experience life. And so lots of grieving. And so that's when I resigned from actually pastoring at Highrock, Quincy. It was a hard time for our family, hard time for me personally. My dad is kind of the man I looked up to. You know, he came from Korea, very poor, came to America to live the American dream, and was very successful. And he had a deep love of his family, my brothers and me. And yeah, I think one of the reasons I think one of my dreams to be a dad was just how great of a dad I had. And so it was a tremendous loss. And so during that time, just kind of figuring out what to do next, taking sabbaticals. I worked at Brigham and Women's Hospital as a chaplain for a year, kind of working through my own grief, doing the clinical pastoral education for a year. And during that time, just asking God, like, what's next? You know, Lord, what do you want me to do next? Should I go back to pastoring? Should I do full-time military chaplaincy? You know, should I go back? I don't know, just do something totally different. And then all of a sudden, there's this email from an old Highrock friend of mine, named Susan Park, and she wanted to meet up. And so we met up, and unfortunately, the thing that we first talked about was also she lost her dad. And so we're just kind of talking and kind of working through some of that grief together, and that was really powerful. And then she invited me to consider joining university at Harvard Business School. So Susan shared that the fellowship was actually running pretty well. It was student-led, but they were really looking for some full-time staff to care for the students, walk with them, and I thought that was amazing. These students from all over the world, high competent people, and I was being asked to be with them, so it was pretty amazing. So as I was considering this position, yeah, it made me think a lot about my dad. Made me think about my own desire to be a dad, and the conversations that Jody and I have had of not having a family yet. And so it was a really hard time for me to figure out, you know, how I wanted to be a dad, and it just wasn't the time for us right now. And I had a friend of mine speak to me and say, you know, Ryan, maybe the time now is that God is asking you to be a father figure. That word is really important for me to hear, because I was really dealing with some depression and wondering what's God doing in the middle of all this. And so it was a really hard time, but it was getting more clear what God was saying, trust me. Surrender this dream of being a dad and see what I might be showing you, something different, something that you didn't expect. Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing is that when I started to get to know the students and the leadership, it wasn't some like startup thing. They were pretty established. They had small groups, they had large groups going on. And so I was like, do they even need me, to be honest? But as I got to know them more, it was clear they didn't really need me to, like, you know, cast vision or run programs. I mean, they were uber competent. They just needed someone to really love them, actually. And that's what I realized, you know, that they were in their place asking two big questions. Every year they ask these two big questions. Who am I supposed to be with? Who am I supposed to marry? And where's God calling me to? What am I supposed to do in my life? And so it became more and more clear to me, even though I was like, I don't think these guys need me in that sense of being a more professional, kind of technical pastor. They just needed someone to walk with them and love them. And I think that was pretty powerful, you know, as I thought about the loss of saying, okay, not to be a dad right now, but then here's this group of men and women kind of in their mid to upper 20s who are just looking for someone to walk with them, to love them, to support them, and not feel alone, not feel that, you know, there was no one to just care for them. And, you know, I've been cared for, I've been loved, I've been supported, and now I'm able, through time and through pain, through experience, to care for others, you know. And I just see like all of this has led to this ministry. And then I think about God the Father like pouring into me all behind the scenes. Sometimes I wasn't even aware of it, bringing these people in my life in the past and even now in the future to support me in this ministry, the students who come. It's just God's hands through it, even though there were times of big sadness and grief and even depression, wondering about being a dad and is that ever going to be in the cards for me. But right now, seeing God kind of using all the past, all the pain, all the things that Jody and I have gone through in our dating relationship and our marriage to be a source of encouragement for the students now. And it's a really amazing thing where God's redeeming the broken to make beautiful things and make a beautiful community. And I think all that's happened from God and really kind of guiding all these people in my life, and now God using me to hopefully care for people as people have cared for me at Highrock. And so I'm excited about that, and looking forward to the future about it.